Hello, my name is Kenji Diaz, and my presentation is about the effect of climate change on the bottlenose dolphin. What is the bottlenose dolphin? The bottlenose dolphin is a species of aquatic mammal found along coastal and offshore waters of the Mediterranean, Pacific Ocean, and Atlantic Oceans. They're one of the most abundant dolphin species around. Additionally, the bottlenose dolphins are in the genus Tertiops and are members of the family of oceanic dolphins known as the Delphinidae. Bottlenose dolphins get their name from their thick and short snouts. Their appearance is distinctive from common dolphins due to their hooked dorsal fins, while common dolphins have triangular dorsal fins. The bottlenose dolphin can also weigh 300 to 1,400 pounds, a couple more than a common dolphin. They also have a lifespan of 40 to 60 years. Bottlenose dolphin size can range from 6 to 13 feet in length, slightly bigger than the length of the common dolphin of 5 to 9 feet. Bottlenose dolphin behavior can be unique, as they can travel in groups or even prefer to be alone. Groups may also break apart and reform as seen in Figure A, where the group clustered tightly together. The bottlenose dolphins also engage in breeding, playing, rubbing, aggression, and body contact. Common behavior of the bottlenose dolphins can be intraspecific agonistic behavior, which involves aggression and fighting among their kind, even their calves. Figure B shows the calf swimming above the water, maintaining baby positioning. Then in Figure C, two adult bottlenose dolphins emerge out of the water and toss the calf airborne. Afterward, Figures D and E display the two dolphins continuously ramming and lifting the calf above the water's surface. Lastly, Figure F shows one of the dolphins swimming under the calf, forcibly lifting it and carrying it. A study on the potential infanticidal behavior of bottlenose dolphins demonstrated that dolphins, even bottlenose dolphins, display this type of agonistic behavior and have been seen to engage in infanticidal behavior, which is the intentional killing of their young calves. The diet of the bottlenose dolphin can be affected by their habitat, season, and demography. For instance, coastal and estuary bottlenose dolphins will have a distinct diet due to different prey being able to inhabit these areas. Not all prey can inhabit estuaries due to the mix of saltwater and freshwater, while not all prey can inhabit the coast because of the saltwater alone. Therefore, the habitat affects the bottlenose dolphin diet because of the prey available. Moreover, the seasons affect the bottlenose dolphin because several of their prey can be seasonally migratory. Faced with this dilemma, the dolphins can either consume different prey or follow their migrating prey. Lastly, demography can affect the bottlenose dolphin's diet because males and females have distinct nutritional requirements. For instance, lactating females need additional nutritional requirements that may differ from other members. For example, high amounts of squid in their diet, which helps with lactation. These pie charts show the seasonal diets of the bottlenose dolphins. In winter and spring, the dolphins have an abundant amount of weak fish, mainly because weak fish, despite their name, are swift fish and much harder to catch. Therefore, adult bottlenose dolphins can catch them while young calves struggle to. This can be a reflection of their mating seasons because there are less amount of calves in the winter and spring. In summer and fall, the diet consisted of croaker and spotfish, mainly because they're easier for offspring to catch, and the bottlenose dolphins mating is around this time. Next, the estuary and ocean pie chart show their distinct diet. For example, the diet of the estuary bottlenose dolphins was mainly croaker fish because they can be found in either salt or freshwater. While the ocean bottlenose dolphins have a diet of croaker, weakfish, and spotfish because spotfish and weakfish are saltwater fish and are as abundant as adults in estuary. Climate change is prominent shifts in weather and temperature that affect animals and their environments. Climate change can be natural like solar cycle changes, but humans have been the main driver of climate change since the 1980s due to increasing rates of industrialization and unsustainable agricultural practices, which increases pollution production and offsets the greenhouse effect. The high amount of air pollution, such as greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, is trapping excess amounts of heat in the Earth's atmosphere, which causes the climate to abnormally warm up above normal temperatures. This affects sea levels because an increase in heat in the climate can cause the melting of glaciers and ice sheets, which can lead to significant damage and loss of bottlenose dolphin habitats. Increasing temperatures can have drastic effects on the bottlenose dolphin's survival rates because higher temperatures can have devastating changes that lead to less available food, unsuccessful reproduction, and environmental interference. Lastly, ocean acidification is caused by a decrease in the ocean's pH due to higher levels of CO2 absorbed into the oceans. These lower levels of pH can affect marine life that is sensitive to acidity and creates conditions in which many essential minerals are eaten away, which affects the bottlenose dolphin's prey, such as fish or shrimp. Additionally, the bottlenose dolphin's habitats are affected because a higher level of acidity can cause the dolphins to migrate elsewhere or even decrease their population. Climate change has drastic changes in bottlenose dolphins' behavior, diet, and migrational patterns. Changes in behavior are seen in bottlenose dolphins due to climate change. For instance, in a study on environmental changes and anthropogenic factors, social interaction was seen to decrease when the bottlenose dolphins were faced with unfavorable conditions, such as environmental degradation caused by climate change. Climate change can increase the likelihood of the phenomena like red tide occurring. Red tide is caused by toxins in the ocean produced by microscopic algae, and climate change is increasing the growth of these harmful organisms. According to a study done on the effects of red tide on bottlenose dolphins, group dispersion occurred amongst the bottlenose dolphins because climate change caused the red tide to drive several prey away from their habitats, forcing them to migrate earlier, which in correlation forced the bottlenose dolphins to seek different prey or migrate as well. These charts display the social interaction changes amongst the bottlenose dolphins when there's a disturbance in their environment. The pie chart shows the difference in social interactions when disturbance was present, like red tide, and when no disturbance was occurring. A decrease in travel and foraging of food is seen as the red tide makes the bottlenose dolphins more exhausted and less likely to travel and forage for food. Consequently, milling increases, which is when dolphins swimming back and forth when resting, because the bottlenose dolphins are exhausted and need to spend more time resting instead of foraging for food. This is all an effect of climate change, which worsens the conditions of red tide. Next, this chart demonstrates the average group size for the bottlenose dolphin. A decrease can be seen from 2006 to 2007 because of the climate change increasing CO2 intake by the oceans, which forced bottlenose dolphins to disperse and forage for prey. A change in diet is a drastic effect of climate change on the bottlenose dolphin population. A decrease in prey availability is seen due to an increase in CO2 absorption by the oceans and a temperature increase. Climate change is forcing several fish to abandon their habitats and migrate to safer waters, which leaves the bottlenose dolphin with less prey availability. Additionally, mortality rates of several species of fish, such as the shrimp like krill, have increased due to higher temperatures and ocean acidification. Krill is prey for bottlenose dolphins, and with a decline in the krill population, there will be less prey available. Additionally, there's a food web decline and impaired trophic levels are a result of climate change because prey that once used to be abundantly available for the bottlenose dolphin is now decreasing in availability. For instance, the krill population is declining. This will affect other prey that the bottlenose dolphin consumes. For example, the weakfish, which is prominent in the bottlenose dolphin's diet, will be affected. They consume krill, which will eventually lead to a decline in prey availability for the bottlenose dolphin because their main source of food, the weakfish, is declining due to the krill population dwindling. All of this is an effect of climate change, affecting the trophic levels and food web of the bottlenose dolphin. Lastly, climate change is hurting bottlenose dolphin migration. Geographical distribution is being affected because of habitat loss and greater competition for dwindling amounts of prey species caused by climate change. Additionally, shifts in seasonal migration have driven bottlenose dolphin prey species away from their habitats, forcing the dolphins to follow them or compete for diminishing prey, which also has changed their geographical distribution. Climate change has also affected the bottlenose dolphins' breeding patterns. Bottlenose dolphins have their breeding grounds where they can mate seasonally. However, due to climate change, bottlenose dolphins have been forced out of their breeding grounds and have to relocate, losing potential prey around their breeding area for their calves and exhausting their bodies, which can lead to mortality rates to increase for their calves. Call to action. Individuals must realize the impact of industrialization and pollution on Earth's oceans. Toxic waste and fossil fuels are having a drastic effect on climate change, ruining the habitats of aquatic mammals like the bottlenose dolphin. As a result, individuals have to come together to address this issue. If no action is taken, the mortality rate of bottlenose dolphins will increase, further destruction of natural habitats will occur, and food availability will diminish. All scientific peer-reviewed articles in the next slide serve the purpose of explaining the need for action and change.